Hello everyone, this is Surirala. Let's go on an adventure with more Terragenesis. We are returning back to our, hopefully soon-to-be lovely planet of Ragnarok. I've been playing this for a few days, and a lot of things have happened. I've gathered up some Genesis points in the corner, and my credits are steadily rising nicely. So what I'm going to do is show you guys what I've done and what's changed. And also, while the planet's not changed yet, I am going to show you guys, give you guys a little more in-depth look at the menus and how the different stats work, right after I take care of this transmission. Okay, no, that's mining revenue. I'll be fine with it. I got my revenue boosts up to a nice, roughly 6 hours, so I won't mess with them. I won't mess with that unless it's giving me more Genesis points. It's always good to gather up your Genesis points, because you never know when you're going to need them for, like, emergency research. Because things, when you research them, they take time to finish, and things take time to build, and you can use up Genesis points. Oh, a rash of organized crime has spread throughout Valhalla. The local police are doing their best to get it under control, but in the meantime, it has become a substantially less attractive place to live. Okay. Yeah, see what I mean? Random events can either positively or negatively impact the stats of your world. But anyway, as I was saying, you never know when you're going to need Genesis points, even just to transfer to another planet you have. But anyway, let's get this thing started. So first, what I'm going to show you is everything I've done on the surface. Well, first let me research another thing. I've got enough credits to research something else here. What was I going to do? Oh yes, the hydro generator, to sort of offset my oxygen output. Because as you can take a look at the stat screen, everything is still in the red, but it's slowly getting there. The heat's going down 11 a minute, and I haven't purchased anything to do that, actually. The heat's going down on its own because the atmosphere is thinning. See, what's fun about this resource management game is different things you do have impacts on the other stats. So, for example, if you're messing with the pressure, the heat will go up or down depending on how much of your atmospheric pressure is there, which is denoted by the level of carbon dioxide in the air, right? So, if you have a very thick atmosphere, a lot of heat will be trapped in it, and that'll add to the amount of heat that's retained in your atmosphere. That's how much of your current heat in millikelvins that you have, and you have to get it down to a goal of 287,000 millikelvins. That's about the temperature that Earth sits at. They use kind of Earth stats for your goals, or at least modified Earth stats. Some of these, like I said, this is very simplified terraforming. It's not going to be exactly precise. It would be, if it were exactly precise, it would be a lot more complicated than this. So, yeah. Now, as for our pressure, I actually managed to offset the amount of gases pushed into the atmosphere via the fissure vents. And I've built up a biofixture lab, and which it reduces the atmospheric pressure. It's the middle point for reducing that. Biofixture labs, what happens is I'm sorry. I'm always a little, ooh, I got another culture point because my population reached 50,000. As you can see, I've been doing a lot with the culture points, too. Random events can also transform your culture meters to different things, but I usually use my culture points to, on the path towards independence, because that takes a long time to do. And there's a way you can transform the rest of these things for free later, so what I like to do is just get that up as far as humanly possible. But anyway, what I was going to show you guys before I got tongue-tied, if if you click on all of these, they can tell you what they do, and what the biofixture labs do for pressure. They give you, this gives you more biomass, because what it's supposed to do is break down the carbon dioxide in the air into carbon that can be used to build up your environment. And that's going to really help, because it turns out the biomass meter, you need to lower the heat. It tells you what you need to do for biomass. But it also says that it already came with a minus 150 growth for biomass because of the toxic atmosphere. So I have to start building that up. But yeah, as for the rest of the stats, let's see. I was on pressure, wasn't I? Yes, I was. One of these days I'm going to get my mind on track for these videos. Anyway, so I've built some different things up to not only offset that pressure, but also get it to go down a little more from its 2 million Pascal point to roughly around 100,000 pascals of atmospheric pressure. And I kind of hate doing planets with high pressure points that you have to get down, because one, it just takes a really long time. So I've had a planet with, like, doing Venus is taking a long time right now, because you start that planet with over like 9 million pascals, and you have to get your pressure lowering as much as humanly possible, and then just wait a while. But anyway, once that's down to a manageable Pascal level, I can remove some of these and just kind of balance it out. My O2 is going up as well. It was going down 80 because of the pressure vents, because it's a poisonous atmosphere. There's little to no breathable air. But I'm actually getting more oxygen into the air via having built hab complexes in my, right now, 2 colonies. I'm about to build a 3rd one here if I can. And I'm getting that up nicely. And the water level, I've just kind of balanced out right now. I haven't actually gone through and added more water, because it's not gonna, the planet's still too hot. You can see this vapor in the atmosphere, and the number there is how many possible centimeters it's going to fill the planet up when the vapor cools and condenses into rainwater. But when I get the heat down to a manageable level, my water is actually going to come down on the planet. So I'm not messing with the water level right now, because if I do, it'll override the vapor in the atmosphere. It'll raise that number, and I will potentially flood the planet. That's another interesting thing. When you're trying to balance all of these out, you have to keep an eye on how your different levels affect everything else. Your pressure, when you mess with it, it directly affects the heat, which directly affects your water level. You can see right there, there's a global cooling right there with a 0 at the end of it, because nothing's happening yet. But global cooling will affect the vapor in the atmosphere, and that's what'll cause my sea levels to rise, because it'll rain down. The heat's going down on its own because, again, it was retained by the atmosphere, and by messing with the pressure, I just mess with the heat directly. So, except oxygen is the only thing that you can do alone, and it won't affect anything else, at least in this simplified game. The atmosphere is actually made up of, well, you'll probably read in the archives, but yeah, the oxygen is actually made up of many different molecules that we breathe, not just oxygen, but oxygen happens to be the main thing that we use for life. So it has to be at a certain level, while the carbon dioxide levels are lowered and the heat's managed. Now the biomass is pretty cool, because anything that raises biomass, you don't have to balance that out. You need biomass to get your planet in the green and to, have enough growing to support your colonies and everything that's on it. So you can put as many biomass things down on your planet. You are encouraged to, because that's unlimited. And here in my population tab, you've probably seen I've put down another colony, Helheim, which again, Norse mythology reference. I must confess that I've heard of Helheim from other sources. I've only sort of glanced at an actual map of the different mythological places. But I'm going to put down one more colony, and I'm going to name it after the world tree Yggdrasil in Norse mythology. And it seems that I was very appropriate in doing the Norse mythology thing for Ragnarok, because once you put down a spaceport on your planet in normal mode, you can access satellites, which give you things to do to the planet outside of its range, including putting domes, and hab units on the planet's moon, if it has any. Moon. And it turns out Ragnarok has 2 moons, Hugin and Munin. Hugin and Munin? I really don't know how to pronounce those. Hugin and Munin, I'm going to say, unless someone corrects me. But yeah, Hugin and Munin are references, again, to Norse mythology. They are twin ravens that serve as messengers for the gods, and sort of their eyes on other worlds as well, I think. Sort of Odin's pets, I want to say. But also, other than putting, like, habs on the moon that people can live in on the moons, you can also, if you have enough credits, invest in these different perks, like your global temperature can be regulated without any further handiwork from you, and you can even manipulate the temperature to whatever you want, which can be interesting, because you can destroy your worlds fairly quickly by freezing them or drying them out, depending on where you set the temperature. The space elevator just allows you a great population boom, because it allows fast travel between everything. The Sky Farm allows people to live on your planet without the need for water and biomass, which is very useful, because eventually your population will get so numerous that they will sort of dry out your planet, and you have to raise the biomass again. So the Sky Farm prevents that and allows people to live ad infinitum. The Lagrange Academy allows you, again, is the thing that allows you to fix the culture sliders for free. And the Orbital Surveyor is really useful, because you get to actually see, when you're placing new mines, where your various resources are on the map, so you don't have to go looking for them in that little minigame. Now let me check out this transmission. Okay, Genesis points. I take that, I'll be right back. There we go, and by patiently watching an ad, I have obtained more Genesis points. Terragenesis is one of those games where it starts out really slow when you have pretty much nothing to work with, but as you keep going and things happen and you raise more revenue, you build your mines, and your societies grow, things get a lot faster and a lot easier to do. All you gotta do is be patient, and heck, you don't even have to pay for anything other than the planets, because frickin' it's just all right there. You just have to be a little patient. And it's also pretty fun, anyway, to see what kind of new games are around on the ads and everything. The transmissions can be a little annoying to keep popping up every minute. Anyway, let's take a look at our colonies. Valhalla is my main one, still. And as you can see, I've built a lot of things onto it. in order to build terraforming things like the cloud seeders, which add small increments of water in the biofixture lab. And you can upgrade these too, instead of like, if you need a higher level of some sort of resource and you don't want to offset the balance of your world, you can just upgrade these instead. Ah, a new style of architecture is developing in Hugin. Awesome. That is pretty cool. So yeah, my kind of rule of thumb is to have 4 outposts with 5 mines each in them, and 3 colonies. That at the minimum, you can build a lot more colonies when you have more money coming in, but I try to make 3 colonies, so that they can even interact with each other sometimes, and you can see a list of what has developed into the cultures, and what kind of communities go into your cities. Different masterpieces, trade routes, breakthroughs for your research. It's rather interesting to see how the different cities grow, and they get all sorts of different things with them. And yeah, you do need a colony to build your terraforming things, because let's face it, the terraforming programs need, people to work on them. So they might as well live nearby, right? They're not living free on the planet yet. They can't. You have to make conditions livable first. But the thing is, early on, it's a good idea to focus more on idiocracy. Popular writer Noonan has begun promoting a powerfully anti-intellectual message. Cost $3 million. Yeah, why not? I'm sorry, I just hate anti-intellectualism. I'll keep my mouth shut on that further. That would bring me into a rant about, real world current events. Yeah, but anyway. So yeah, that's that. It's, like I said, early on in game, it's a good thing to focus more on your income. So try to research your mines and your population, the things that make them grow, and where you can keep them, because that'll help very well in the long run, especially when you're doing planets like in the story campaigns that you need population growth in order to build things. Like, you notice that there are certain population caps that your colonies have to be at before you can build more things on them. So it really helps to just focus on your population before your terraforming. Essentially, your terraforming can wait. Your populations have to come first. You can check on your mines and how long they have left. This one's got 16 hours, 20 hours, 16 hours, 16 hours, 2 days, all that good stuff. So yeah, that is how you can manage your people and see the stats, the menus. And clicking up in the right here just gives you a really cool view of your world. There's nothing much to see on Ragnarok right now, because what you're looking at is the black, like, poisonous, gaseous cloud of atmospheric pressure that covers it. But once that's gone, you will see it more like it is on the map, which is like pretty much a black world with like volcanic fissures all over the place spewing these gases. And these little yellow points here are actually your colonies and mines where you've placed them. You can only see Valhalla at the moment because it's got a pretty spacious population already, but you'll see the other ones on the map as they grow. And you can even check out your colonies from orbit, which is really neat. You can take pictures, you can move your planet every which way to see the poles and everything else. But yeah, the Ragnarok will be interesting once I get the atmosphere level down and the water level up. I wonder if it'll completely cover the fissures, the volcanic fissures, or if the water will turn them to rock or something. I'm not sure. This is a very, very volatile world that I am taming. That's why it's hard. Oh, mining and culture revenue. I guess I shall take that. Excuse me. And I'm back. Yay, boost. I tend to try to have the boost up at about 8 hours. That way, I'll just gather a lot of revenue when I'm working or whatever. Because the thing about this game is it does run in the background. It can be great if you need to be idle and just gather credits, but you also have to be careful not to let your different levels go out of hand. I made that mistake with the moon the first time. I accidentally let the O2 levels get too high without balancing it out, and ended up causing an ecological collapse. But I fixed that, and slowly it went back to normal again. So yeah, so that's what's really fun, is that all of these things have different ways of manipulating your levels, and you have to find ways to balance them out, all of them, once they reach their ideal levels. If you don't even have to be like in the green, you can just be within the threshold. I've had to do that on some of my cold worlds where there's too much ice, to avoid flooding the planet when I turn the heat up all the way to normal. So they just end up staying in the red and being like tundra planets. But they turn green anyway with a nice sea. And, your people will live on that, just like they do in the cold places on Earth. You just have to, be conservative with your levels. There is an achievement you get for having a planet reach paradise status, which is all of the sliders in the green. But, and see what I mean about biomass. You can just go, stay in the green forever. You don't even have to limit its growth at all. That's the only thing that you can let go, because it's good for the planet. But the rest of these you have to keep balanced. And, yeah. I think that's about it for my in-depth look at all the menus. How's my research coming along on that? The hydro generator. Okay, that'll take a little bit. So yeah, I think that's it for this session anyway. I might be a little bit over. I hope you guys can hear me a little better. I've turned the phone the other way so I don't mess with the microphone. But yeah, if you're enjoying this series, please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want, and I'll be back with another video soon. I'm trying to find out what else I can play for you guys. I'm in between games at the moment. But if anyone has any suggestions, please let me know. Anyway, like I said, I'll see you in the next video. Keep adventuring. Bye-bye.